Hello. Hij moet in het Engels, hè? English, okay. Hello. Good to have you here. Drupal usability is the topic of my talk. Who of you does know about Drupal? I see some. Who needs an explanation of what Drupal is?
I would like to.
Damn.
That's the reason why.
Okay. I might not be the best to do the elevator pitch for Drupal. Drupal is a content management platform more than a system. We have a hard time labeling it in 2-3 buzzwords. Another one is a social publishing platform. It's a PHP environment where you can quickly get up and running with a database-driven content management site. And Drupal, its strengths are in social features, as in user accounts, permissions and roles. We're quite extendable and expandable. We are touting our 2,000 modules we have, which is not always a good idea, I think, but there's a very big community. We have, I think, more than 200,000 members on the Drupal.org site. There's 1 million comments. There's 300,000 postings on the site. The platform for building sites is getting more and more popular and making inroads into larger and bigger organizations with higher requirements. And for Drupal 6, and the topic of my talk, I hope that Drupal.org. Usability, it's an issue. And in 2008, what I want to do is give a rundown of what we have been doing in 2008 on improving usability. That's this. That's a lot of things going on, but let me give a rundown of what we have done this year. There was a lab test in March this year. I don't know how many people exactly were involved, but it was a real usability lab test. People were given tasks. Here's your new Drupal website. Create a form to make a posting. There were, I think, 3 tasks, and what happened? People didn't manage to finish even the first task. There were quite a lot of issues. The issues of the results were presented. Of course, lots of head scratching, people panicking, what's happening? Probably the users are stupid. But we had lab test 2 in May, and the same issues came up, which involved more head scratching, but maybe we do have problems. These 2 tests resulted in like a short list of main issues we like to fix. Panic indeed. Dries, the project lead, the core committer, together with Angie Byron Webchick now for Drupal 7. He made an extensive posting on his blog about these 2 test results, and he says, I'm not going to release Drupal 7 before we fix 90% of these issues. This July 3rd. Okay, that gives us a good handle on when Drupal will be finished, Drupal 7. It's good to have a project lead that decides usability should be such big a focus. In the meantime, also a process for designing the Drupal website. Drupal.org itself has started, and the Drupal Association has invited professional designers and user experience designers to collect input and come up with a strategy and an information architecture for our site. But some nice things came up about Drupal, the software as well. And I think this one was a certain comment somebody made, and I said, okay, I can download it, I can install it. Then I get an ugly blog I don't want. I feel there's enormous power under the hood, but it's like this kind of brick wall in between me. So people really have a hard time figuring out where they are, when they, and what they can do once they have successfully installed Drupal. Let's fix it. Brick walls are not cool. Rock and Roll Confidential will tell you that about the band members of rock bands. Right, fixed to 90%. Next up, when was it? Late August, Drupal conference in Hungary, Szeged. 500 people came, and working towards it, I proposed to have a usability sprint. Get some people together, filter out the main topics, and work in small teams, coming up with at least high-level solutions for the main issues we defined. What are those issues? People enter their successful install, and they come to a nice welcome page. They read it and they try to do some things. Once you've created one thing, sorry, it's coming up, help system. Any help disappears once you've made your first comment. People get lost. Where did my content go? When the people make some comment and they navigate further, they have no place to find where's my stuff. Big issue. The node form, this is jargon for the form where you create your content with all the publishing options, title, body, published, yes, no, attachments. It's way too big. It doesn't focus on the actual task and gives you way too much options. There was a fourth topic. People are having trouble building menus and structure in the site. That team disbanded quickly, and a big underlying problem in our interface is our inconsistent and way too much interface copy. Inconsistent in the sense that a page is called a post, is called, etc. So I proposed to have 4 sessions. People lose the welcome page, getting the started page. Where did my content go? Create a content form, way too many options. Interface copy is inconsistent and too long. A page, an article, a story, a post. Example, this defines the length of your summary version of your post. This is the explanation of just one little select box. This is typically developer documentation bubbling up into the interface. We need to fix that and put some of it away and get some of it out into a real help system. And the conflicting terminology for the same or same labels for different tasks is a big issue, which is something we need to work on and need help with. So, sorry. Stolen from Bojan. Another presentation. What is happening in our administrative interface is that we're exposing our functionality. Every option that the developer makes creates a checkbox, a radio button, an option, a text field. Once it's there, if we place it somewhere, okay, you can do it. That's often not the best approach to help people who want to produce content get on their way in actually getting their stuff done. So we need to get Drupal from the left to the right. It involves multiple issues. In Szeged, the Drupal conference, we came together with like at least 20 people daily for 4 days, working on those topics, coming up with high-level solutions. Afterwards, we tried, okay, what can we do to connect the usability and user experience experts we are gathering around in the Drupal community. How can we work with them together with developers, which to come to define a problem, brainstorm a solution, and get it actually implemented in code. That's a tough challenge, and we're trying to go to put some barriers in it, pick a topic, brainstorm it, come up with possible solutions, wireframe it, make sketches, stop the brainstorm at a certain point, just stop, because there's a lot of risk in people repeating itself, but I think. Some of the experts should filter the options, come up with the best approach. You ideally test even the wireframe or the sketch, and write up a specification for developers to start writing a patch, actual code that can be applied to Drupal. Nice, ideal situation, of course. This is where you end up with the issue queue, all topics, all problems, all feature requests, all bugs are entered into the system, and this is the top list at the moment. We are seeing quite some activity, but it's hard to keep the discussion on track. But we're making progress. This one is, if we're talking process, very, very important to help to get people who don't write code involved and help them give appropriate feedback. We're seeing a lot more screenshots at the moment in the issue queue, and that really helps in getting the point clear and keeping the discussion on track. And in that way, we can actually see what we are improving before we apply it. So that's how we can work on things, how to prevent the bike shed discussion. Yes, but I think. We need to keep testing. There's a lot of code testing going on, and developers have no problem accepting the need to go write code tests. We're still a bit more shy about testing actual humans and see what how they react to the stuff we built. It's very, very, very important we keep this thing going. KDI is an organization that supports independent journalism, independent publishing, and there's a specific Drupal part in their budget to write proposals for, and we're proposing KDI to fund us 2 big lab tests again in 2009 to get to real good benchmarks. Okay, we've done stuff, we added stuff, check. Done stuff, added stuff, check. Those are important to get a big overview of where we are, inform the community about how we're going. The second one, Usability Testing Suite, is an important project that should enable us to make shorter tests during development. And Usability Testing Suite, it's a Summer of Code project. We have the mentor of it in the house. It's Bojan here. Maybe we can talk about it more later. It should enable, it will be a Drupal module where developers can define tasks within a test, defining task, try to get this done in my module, and this module will collect the clicks people make. You have to find your ideal path. Okay, it would be best if they click this and then that, and then they have to done it. And you make a test. You add tasks to it, and you can do it online. You can run the test online. So developers should have a tool by then to test a few users, compare what they do, and it's a small set of data, but it will give you insight in where after click 2 or 3, people go wrong. This is originally a summer of code project from the summer, and of course hasn't quite been finished yet. People and students are busy. School has started. It would be great to have more people working on this. The interface design itself is a big case study for Drupal in how we approach interface design for more complex situations than we're handling at the moment. Help out. Groups Drupal.org/usability is the place where we work together, keep the discussion, collect the main topics we are working on, put small issues in the queue in the spotlight, and our postings. This is the place where discussions should happen. We want to avoid the discussion and the I think in the issue queue where the actual patches are written. So we want to deflect all the discussion and the bike sharing to groups with Drupal.org. Keep it there, come up with a solution, and be very specific when you start talking code. We hope to help developers see that we need to design before we build, and a lot of the design should happen here. Once we're there, we go to the queue and start coding it. That's the home for the usability. So let's see. Maybe we can take it to 100%. At the moment, we're doing a lot of this. This one is red, actually. Help! Don't watch out! Don't click it. We need to be more helpful and help people get up and running. Thanks. Questions? I hope.
Maybe talk about Google Summer of Code project.
Yeah. Sorry?
Maybe introduce the Google project. Summer of Code.
Are you up to?
Yeah, sure. We started with Jimmy. He's a Summer of Code student from, America. I'm not sure which university. But we try to basically get developers more involved with usability testing. So we have to lower the barrier. What we usually say is go to a user and test with him. But developers are, they just don't want to sometimes. So we try to make that easier. We started creating the usability testing suite. Which essentially creates a Drupal instance in which a participant can do something. The test creator, the developer, sets up a study. He puts in a few tasks, 3, that the user has to do. He just sends an email to someone he knows and asks him, could you just try this out and try to do this task. If he built a module, he wants to try if a user can do a little task, just a basic task really, and find out if he can actually do it. What the usability testing suite collects is form data. So he collects what form is the data that's being put in the forms by the participant. He collects the mouse clicks. So where the user clicks, what pages, stuff like that. We're beginning to also collect the mouse movements. So basically, just as you do with a normal usability test, is where you collect a video you do the same thing. So at the end of the study, when you have like 3 participants, or well, even lower, just what you want, you can like compare the data, and from that you can see where it's going wrong. It's mostly about identifying the problem. So because you can't come up with solutions with a usability test. It's mostly just about finding the problem and really identifying what the problem is. And we're trying to push developers to pretty much test and then even go further, like try to talk with users and try to find out why it's actually going wrong. So like, what's the mental picture? So that's the whole Summer of Code project, and there's just a lot of Summer of Code projects. So
What's the current status?
it's now in beta. So when the interface is ready, we're probably going to release it, and we hope that some people can clinch in on the fact that it will lower the barrier. So you can do it behind your PC and just send the email out.
You can just install the module and it will automatically pick up what you're trying to test. You just configure it and
Yeah,
it works.
you can just like you can build an environment. So you just say like this is the environment I want to use to test it. It can actually happen on your live site. So you just say like this is the content. Maybe you want to do it on an empty Drupal install, or you may want to do it on a really busy install to find out if your module actually works when there's like more than one node in. So yeah, that's the idea.
The student has written all functionality. It's mainly implementing the interface.
Yeah, it's
The functionality is there.
Yeah. So yeah, we're taking time to actually design it and to think about because I can design it for a usability professional, right? They know all the terms, they know how to do everything, but well, yeah.
Yeah.
And developers, they usually don't know that much about usability testing, so we need to guide them and just make it easy for them, right? It isn't that hard to do a usability test, it's just to see them like actually use it.
How were the results reported to you back? How was that? Is there a certain framework for it? Or?
Well, we're now building an interface for that. So what we're basically doing is like the form data, so we're just giving back, at the moment we're just giving back the MySQL query pretty much. But we want to just display it nicely, you know, you see all the data that's being input. There's different outputs. Right now you can also do like XML output. So you can analyze it yourself, because there's like stuff like timestamps. You want to like, if you're doing a really quantitative study, so basically all about getting the numbers right, if it's more efficient, so like 5 seconds, that matters. Then you need XML, so then you need to input in your own analytics. I don't know how you do that, so yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just read a book about.
You read a book.
Yeah.
Very good. Of course. Yeah.
Most of the times I read on the internet, but this this was an exception. I read a book about from Alan Cooper. The inmates are running the asylum.
Yeah.
And in that book, as I understand it, he says he says that using personas is important. And he says a lot of usability improvement and interaction design they think of an interface or a solution for an interface, and then they go testing and changing it a bit and testing again, and it's an iterative process. And he argues that by using personas you can do with a lot less of iteration. And I know, because I was in Szeged, of course, that making personas for Drupal is pretty hard because we have such a wide range of users.
Yes.
But could you tell me your views on that, and maybe if something of forming personas is already being done? Or
yes, we have even written some already for the Drupal.org redesign. We tried to come up with some persona. What I think should be happening is that we have a lot of options in our administrative interface, and personas help identify the certain roles and task groups we have within the interface. So what I would like to see happening to our administrative interface, our control panel, which is just a big link dump in questionable subdivisions of tasks, but we think we need to separate the administrator from the editor, the content producer, and a third one is of course the much feared end user, or at least the visitor of your site, and how much, if he has his own account, where's my stuff, where's my account, where's my comments, where's the stuff I can do. I think having those three roles and maybe 3 persona for that, and make those 3 different task groups within the interface and separate them out. We have a big problem of a big link dump in our navigation block to the left or wherever it is. There's a lot of tasks in there and they're mixed up, and we should definitely try and organize those along more persona / task groups and roles. It's one of the biggest discussions because we start mixing up everything that's in the bucket, you know, this one goes there, this one goes there. So that's one of the discussions. It's been started, the issue is there, and of course that one which has so far reaching so much horizontal impact, because all the patches and the improvements are quite vertical and very specific fixes for this. And okay, does it improve performance, or is it smarter? Yes, okay, we can apply it, it's part of core. Yeah, but now let's organize our administrative sections. That's a big one, and we have to find a way to make small steps for that and actually work towards that bigger goal.
There are other software areas where these problems are solved a bit in other software products. So maybe you can have a look.
Yeah.
Isn't a big problem of this point that there's like design by committee going on?
Yep.
Well, there should be designed by just a few.
That's the bike shed and the design by community. A camel is a horse designed by committee. That's an issue typical of the open source process, and we are not per se, but we are. That's what's happening at the moment. We created our own room in Drupal ISC for usability, and at least some of the people are connecting with each other. And a big important plus is that Dries, the core committer, has assigned Angie Byron, web chick, as a core committer, and she was there in the lab tests earlier this year. So she's pretty much convinced we need to improve it as well. So we have all hands on deck if we want to. It's hard keeping momentum, and it's hard avoiding the design by committee. People are getting used to it that smaller teams might actually help.
Because just like with the redesign effort,
Yeah.
it really helps to appoint one single firm, which can.
Oh yeah, pay money helps too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, paying helps, of course, but I think a big decision in that effort is just appointing one single firm
Yeah.
to be responsible for
Yeah.
the whole thing. And
No, and I don't mean the paying cynically as well, because then you externalize it, and of course people have all the still room for to bitch and complain and moan, but they are going to do it,
yeah.
and we can be sure they will help us solve a lot of problems. I don't know how open the community would be to do the same with our software. Of
Oh,
course, people
WordPress
are
does the
porting
same
to
thing.
WordPress. Yes, the new 2.7 screens are looking very good. There's a lot to learn from it. Yeah.
And perhaps the Drupal community could adopt the same process that WordPress did for redesigning its admin interfaces.
Mhm.
They appointed HappyCog to do usability studies,
Yeah.
draft personas, and come up with a proposal,
Yeah.
which is very different from the Drupal community process, which is basically just gather lots of input from everybody and
Yeah.
trying to make a proposal which will hopefully satisfy everybody.
Mhm.
Which is
Yeah, everybody is
So-
the worst target group you can have.
but
I don't think that discussion has really been opened at all. Can we improve the product with external services.
Well,
What we've been trying to do in Zagat is, at least within the community, get some kind of funnel and at least get people to know who we might consider experts in the field and just
because I
maybe
don't know
listen.
if it's really necessary to get external experts, but just appointing a single
Yeah.
member or a single
Yeah.
responsible
Small team.
group,
Yeah.
small team to conduct this whole.
Yeah, the first version was the usability sprint in Zagat. I've been trying to get people organized and divide tasks, etc. It's hard to keep momentum, especially because it's volunteer work, of course. Hard.
Just some ideas.
But it's happening, and we have usability and user experience and designers. They're getting more and more connected. It's just the most important and the most hard to find people are the ones who understand both the design and the code. The ones who can help us define our problem in code and who can help the coders convince that indeed we might be better off with dropping functionality or doing things simple without making them stupid.
You mentioned that the main committer at Facebook
Yeah.
said there won't be a release 7 when the user interface cannot improve he really wants that user interface.
Yeah, we need to find 90% of the issues that were found in the 2 lab tests earlier this year, before we released Drupal 7.
And how would you see that schedule? In the
Yeah, it's done when it's done, even for Drupal 7. That's the motto. Code freeze is not in sight. We have code freeze where we stop developing and adding features, and then we take another couple of months or to half a year to debug, and there's still room for usability improvements at that point, actually. What is happening is that we have the funding proposal for the 2 tests in 2009, and what we're trying to do is DrupalCon in Washington, D.C. is early March? It's in March, so we're hoping to get a lab test going right before that. Take another week to come up with presentations and to feed it back into the community at large. We're expecting at least 1,000 people there. So that would be a first benchmark. Maybe at that point an announcement for code freeze is made, but not even that is sure. Drupal has typically been released around a big major version every year. This is definitely slowing down for this. So there's, like I said, the committers are convinced. The expertise is getting there, and now is the time. Drupal 7 should really bring some improvements.
Well, how much of the 90% has been done already?
Yeah, nice one, good one. I think 15. 15. Because of the process, first big discussions. Okay, stop. What can we do? Then somebody actually has the balls to. Okay, let me try and write a patch. Then it goes through another 80 comments, of course, and feedbacks before it's actually core worthy. So, and that's for this what we call lower hanging fruit, the smaller issues with not too many implications, and even those go through quite a mill of ping pongs back and forth.
So it's a struggle with you struggle a lot with the software, right? It's a struggle.
You mean the development process or the software tool itself? The Drupal development process?
The platform is a bit struggling.
It sounds like a struggle with the community.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'm overdoing it. No. A lot of that has improved this year. Like I said, we are seeing many more screenshots in the issue queues, pointing out issues. People are opening up to discussion, and it's especially the core developers who are real geniuses. They understand, but of course the resources are always a bit thin. And like Bojan pointed out with usability tests, developers are a bit shy about designers picking through their solutions and saying, no, let me try and come up with something first before you start building it. That's quite a different approach, of course, and that is a bit of a struggle, but it's fun in the same time. People are opening up, and especially if we get more of the really top-shot developers convinced and going joining in the discussion, I'm sure we'll build a better Drupal at the moment.
But what is you also do development for the Drupal?
No, I'm mostly a designer. I don't write the code. I'm not even the usability or user experience design expert. But what I did do, maybe you know of the views module. Views 2 has received quite a change in the interface. Views is our big module for creating any list of content you want. Everybody uses views. It's one of the things that is moving towards core. It's a query builder that presents all your content in all kinds of lists and blocks and elements you want. And Views 2 has just last week been really released, and since December the developer has been working on it, and he was smart enough to ask for design input before actually building the interface. And that was one of the case studies we had this year, where there was an actual design process together with the developer, who is one of the most esteemed developers in the community, and that's Earl Miles, Merlin of Chaos, together with me and another developer designer, Alan Pritchett. We're the core team in designing that interface. So I think I earned some karma somewhere with that, and in that enables me to, without being a programmer, you get a bit of authority without being the expert. And now I see I can connect with the experts and can connect with the developers. And that's mostly my role at the moment, trying to see what's all happening, keeping the big picture in mind, and try to connect developers with designers, with usability people. That's where I stand.
A lot of improvements to make. So.
Of course, yeah. So that's why I came here and talk to you about it as well. Thanks again.
Yes.